Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. Today we're going to take a closer look at my second favorite semiconductor company, Advanced Micro Devices, ticker AMD. So right now we can see the stock is sitting at roughly $100. In the past 5 days, I do believe it's been kind of a very volatile market for the semiconductor space, maybe for the overall tech market as well. But I do believe the stock was up, almost $110 in earlier October, and the stock is down roughly 8% from its monthly high. So what I want to take a closer look at today is there are some good news appearing or reports appearing for AMD that they are getting some sales for their MI300 and also some sales for FPGAs. Let's take a closer look in today's episode. All right, so first we are going to see that there are reports that AMD has received orders for next generation Instinct MI300X, the AI accelerator, and the big player that's going to put the orders right now is Oracle.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
And Oracle, for those that are not familiar, is a company I have been talking a lot in the past kind of few days. They have done some nice team-ups with Nvidia. The most recent was kind of bringing Nvidia's DGX Cloud to their marketplace. And I do believe Oracle right now is trying to really grow in the cloud serving market. And one way they are doing that is by obviously partnering up really well with both AMD and Nvidia. And the other thing is, I do believe Oracle is one of the few cloud server providers, that the top ones, that is not really trying to design in-house chips to combat the semiconductor players, right? We have Amazon that has numerous AI chips that obviously combat the needs for Nvidia's chips. We also have Microsoft planning on releasing a new chip in the upcoming months based on reports, and we have Google, right? They have their TPUs. So Oracle, in my opinion, as of right now, is trying to really play that neutral game that, hey, look, I'm going to partner up with you, AMD. I'm going to partner up with you, Nvidia, and I'm not going to make any competition chips at the moment. And for that reason, maybe you can help me out and maybe send me some of those chips ahead of time. So I do believe this is really good news for AMD if the reports are true, right? If we take a closer look at AMD's most recent earnings, I do believe we can get some insight of where the MI300 is. But before we go there, guys, I do want to say AMD is expected to report their earnings on October 31st of 2023. So next week, right? So make sure to stay tuned to this channel. I'm definitely going to do a deep dive on it, and I'm also going to do plenty of videos on the earnings. So if you are an AMD investor, this is going to be the best place for you to find out any information. While I have you here, we just hit 28.4 thousand subs. If you haven't, make sure to hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button. I definitely would appreciate it. I do have weekly exclusive videos on the semiconductor market. Just click join to learn more. Special offer at fool.com/Jose, free newsletter at josenajarro.substack.com, and free semiconductor news at semiconductorwatch.com. All right, so let's now jump into AMD's most recent earnings, which were August 1st of 2023, so roughly 3 months ago. So during the earnings call, we did hear a lot about AI, and we heard a lot about the MI300. So AMD mentions that in cluster engagement for AIs grew by more than 7 times sequentially as multiple customers initiated or expanded programs supporting future deployments of the Instinct MI250 and the MI300 hardware and software at scale. So we can definitely see that AMD is definitely seeing at least some growth in engagement. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily sales, but it's growth in discussions from other big players about the MI300. Before I go any further though, I do want to showcase AMD's most recent earnings in forms of numbers. We can see $5.4 billion, roughly $1.3 billion came from the data center market. That is one of their biggest markets, right? And for those that are not familiar, the 1.3 billion mainly comes from CPUs. At the moment, this company barely makes any money from data center GPUs. So any form of market share in this space can obviously be a big boost for this company's data center segment. So kind of continuing here with the transcript on AMD, they do mention that, hey, look, in AI, we made strong progress in the second quarter as they met numerous hardware and software milestones to address the growing customer customer pool of their data center AI solution. So we continue to see that AMD is kind of seeing this nice growth in the data center market in forms of the AI space. And they also mentioned about software and hardware. I do want to mention, since the last earnings, the company did acquire an AI company, an AI software company. So we can see how AMD is continuing to expand those AI software solutions. They also expanded more availability or support for their ROCm software solution, which is their kind of AI software market, to kind of allow more GPUs to be able to support PyTorch. So overall, AMD is making moves, and they have made some more software and hardware improvements in the AI market this quarter. Outside of that, they do mention that, hey, look, the MI300 combines their next CDNA 3 architecture and will be one of the fastest and kind of obviously biggest memory footprint graphics card in the market. They do mention that they are providing early system access and sampling both products with their lead AI, high performance computing, and cloud customers now, and remain on track to launch and ramp production in the fourth quarter. Obviously, we know Nvidia is the big player here when we take a closer look at AI GPUs, or kind of just data center GPUs in general. So what ends up happening is AMD kind of has samples. They send these samples to big customers like maybe Oracle, like maybe Amazon, and they give them time to test them out internally. And then after a company has kind of tested them out internally, they're going to say, hey, yes, look, yes, we'll start off with an initial order. And then after that initial order, they're going to be like, yes, let's go even with a bigger order. So when it comes to a new product, especially in the data center market and something as big as GPUs right now, it does take time to ramp up, right? It doesn't mean they release this product in the fourth quarter and right out of the fourth quarter, we are going to see a huge boost in sales. No, this is something that investors need to be patient. It's something that might take 1 to 2 quarters before we start to see traction. And luckily, if the reports are true, we are definitely seeing some great tractions from Oracle as they are placing orders of the MI300. Ramp production is starting in the fourth quarter, but I do believe AMD mentions that they're not really going to see major sales until maybe the first half of 2024 and continuing to grow in the second half of 2024. So overall, this bodes really, really well for the company. There are some other reports for AMD, though. There are reports that IBM is expected to use AMD's Xilinx FPGA solutions for AI workloads. And if we take a closer look at the financials, again, we can see that the embedded market is another big portion, $1.5 billion of total revenue in the most recent quarter. This is AMD's most profitable segment. And luckily for us, AMD has recently announced kind of new accelerator programs. They have we can see accelerator cards for data centers, for computational storage, for network, for teleco, and obviously their FPGA products as well. AMD unfortunately did warn us that, hey, look, the embedded market is starting to see some weakness in the market. So even though with this sale, I do believe that we still are going to see that weakness in the FPGA market, in the embedded market for AMD. But overall, this does bode well, and we can see that AMD is playing the AI front in numerous ways. It's playing it through the CPUs, it's playing it through the GPUs, and obviously through the embedded market. So before I end on this episode, I just want to take a closer look at AMD's PE ratio. We can see forward PE ratio is sitting at 36.33. That is the end of this fiscal year, so roughly 2 quarters from now. A 36.33, in my opinion, is not too crazy. Now we take a closer look at forward 1 year. That's the end of next fiscal year, so roughly a year and a half from now. PE ratio is roughly 24.1. In my opinion, I do believe the market is somewhat underestimating AMD in forms of their AI growth. I don't believe, and let me just say this, I don't believe they're even going to be much of a threat to Nvidia, right? Nvidia is my number 1 position, AMD is my number 2 position. I don't believe they're going to be much of a threat to Nvidia when it comes to AI GPUs, but I do believe there's so much demand in this market right now that even if AMD gets a little bit of the market share, even gets the crumbs to some extent of this market, it will be a nice revenue boost, a nice earnings per share boost for the overall company. And I do believe some of these estimates that analysts are projecting might be underestimating what what AMD can really do. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Take care, have a good day, and see you next time.